Alright, 2010, the Mother Cluck'n Hen. This is going to be the year for brands that really care for their people. It's for bloggers that don't just sit around and goof off and ignore their kids. Hey guys, I'm doing a video. You going to be quiet? Watch the football game, okay? So, what I was saying is that 2010 is the year for bloggers that really care about their guests and for businesses that do the same. Business, brands, bloggers, same deal. They're all just trying to communicate something and trying to get something in return. Now I say 2010 is the Mother Cluck'n Hen. These ideas about bribes, tribes, not so much bribes, and about caring for people, they've been around for a long time. It's just that it seems like the masses are coming to the tipping point where they're really wanting to have these better experiences. Galco Soda Stop, he believed that the American public will pay more for sodas if they actually experience a much better product. And I would say Square One Coffee, that's why I keep going back to Square One. I've experienced a lot of coffee shops, just run-of-the-mill coffee shops, the caramel macchiato, the big S-word coffee shop. But when I go to Square One, there's something about that that's different. And it's not that I hate Starbucks and McDonald's and those places. It's just that Square One is much better. Now, some people actually hate the old brands. They hate the McDonald's. They hate the Starbucks. I think that's a little weak. You're not really hating Starbucks and McDonald's. I think you're just hating yourself for having liked those brands for so long. My word is, forgive yourself. Move on to the Square One. Yeah, in the last year, in 2008 alone, microbrews have risen 11%, while the big name brands have dropped 11% in sales. That tells me that the masses are shifting from the bland, run-of-the-mill type thing to the microbrews. Dogfish Head beer. Sam Calagione says when he does a taste test of a new beer, when he gives it to 5 people, he'll be looking for 3 people to take the first sip and then instinctively take the second gulp and really, really like it. On the other hand, there'll be 2 of those in that group that'll take the first sip and then just spit it out because they absolutely don't like it. It seems we can't satisfy everyone with one product. And so it's okay if you're a microbrew product to just try to connect with a few good people and don't be offended when people are offended with your product. So I believe in 2010 we're going to be looking more and more to a smaller and smaller group of trusted friends like Chris Brogan trust agents. We're either looking for the go-to gal about something or we know the go-to person. Like for instance, my sister is the go-to person in our family if we want something cheap. If I want a cheap table or chairs or something, I say, hey Anna, can you be on the lookout for free or cheap set of kitchen chairs? And she'll be on Craigslist or whatever, and somehow she finds this stuff in the blink of an eye and gives me a phone call and says, alright, if you don't jump on that right away, you're going to lose it. People have a go-to person on coffee, a go-to person on lawns, on cars, whatever. And those go-to people are almost always very passionate about what they do. They really like it. They could care less if they get paid for it or not. And it's ironic that those people get paid way more than they possibly should when they don't even really care about getting paid for it. So the professionals in our lives will be paid less and less money because money is only one capital. Our relationship and friendship capital is becoming more and more important. We're starting to trade services. Like I might do lawn care for a guest that does massage therapy for me, or I might do lawn care for a guest who helps me with SEO work. And we trade these services, and it's hard to know who's getting too much out of it, so we both just kind of overproduce, overgive, and everyone's really happy. And in fact, the IRS should be really happy too, because we're both building greater wealth, and that greater wealth will give us a bigger pocket of money, and then down the road, our threshold of taxable income will be even greater. So if you want to get out of tax money, just make your money and spend everything you get and never allow your wealth to build up. Anyway, that's something for another post. Some of my favorite bloggers from last year I follow a lot of bloggers, but the ones I remember, I only have like a top 5. It's like the Pioneer Woman, Gary Vaynerchuk, Chris Brogan, and Penelope something. And the interesting thing is Chris Brogan and Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm increasingly drawn toward Chris Brogan. And I think it's because he's a little more long-term thinking, whereas Gary Vaynerchuk is a little more, I call him ADD-ish, and that's not really fair to say that, but that's the best word I have for it. But Chris Brogan, I think he has a longer time horizon. Just like in baseball, the young pitchers, they pitch really fast and they depend on their high speed to blow pitches past people. Whereas the older, more mature pitchers, they depend on placement, reading their batters. And that's kind of how Chris Brogan and Gary Vaynerchuk are different. Chris Brogan is, I know they're about the same age, or I don't know what their age is, but Chris Brogan seems to be a little more deliberate and slow and more dedicated, whereas Gary Vaynerchuk is the young kid on the block, even though he's one of the older ones by now. Where's I going with this? I don't know. I just know if you're going to start blogging, go ahead, depend on your fast pitch and your whiz-bang HD video, whatever. But your long-term strategies, you've got to have good placement. You've got to know your hitters. You got to pitch in the right places to get the ball to go where you want it to go. These bloggers that have been blogging and Twittering and Facebooking for years are only now getting some of their return. But here's some of the mistakes these bloggers are going to make. Some of these guys are going to get their first crop and just make the haul and be all happy, and they're not going to keep planting seeds. I think Gary Vaynerchuk is kind of on that route, whereas Chris Brogan, he seems to keep planting a little more. But here I'm just being critical. Both of those guys are my heroes in blogging, so please don't misunderstand me. Another mistake bloggers can make is erosion of their brand, their personal brand, by telling too much of their story at one given time. They expose too much of the farm. And it's kind of hard for me to explain how this works. I'll do it in another blog sometime. But don't tell too much of your story at once. And also get-rich-quick schemes. They're flushed out so incredibly fast anymore because of Snopes and stuff like that, and just friends. You can just sniff out a get-rich-quick scheme. The only person that really gets rich in a get-rich-quick scheme are the get-rich-quick schemers themselves, telling other people how to get rich quick. Now, one twist I've seen to this in one get-rich-quick scheme, and it starts with a big M, they claim to not so much care about the product they sell, but care about developing their people. And that one will just take longer to unravel. And the greed of the people might actually overcome the sensibilities that they might have to understand how stupid this scheme is. And I'll say the number 3 problem of bloggers is to please too many people. Just like Sam Calagione. 3 people are going to want the second gulp and 2 people will spit it out. Be okay with people not liking you. Now, that doesn't mean you purposely aggravate people. It just means that the side effect of really, really connecting with a few people is that some of the people are not going to like it, or worse yet, they'll actually hate it. So if you're making a new product for your restaurant, a new menu item, you may have some people that really, really like it. Some people are not going to like it. A bland product might not offend anyone, but it's not really going to please anyone. And the last and the most important problem I'm seeing with bloggers right now is bloggers that put AdWords and AdSense and try to monetize their blog way too early. They buy a farm and plant seeds that sprout in a couple days and try to harvest and make a haul right away. You got to have a longer term thing. The longer you wait to monetize, the better your orgasm is going to be every time.